Hey, Wendy Handy here. I am a wife, a dog mom, and a functional medicine coach, entrepreneur, and lover of all things health and wellness. And I'm here with my really good friend, Monica Edwards. She is the president of Monica K Coaching, business mastery and bulletproof mindset strategist, and the author of the upcoming Bulletproof Mindset series. So, welcome, Monica.
Welcome, welcome. You forgot to say and good friend as you were
And
describing
good
yourself
friend.
as a dog mom.
Yes, and my good friend and previous colleague.
You are a good friend to many.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for having me, Wendy. I'm super excited to be here in this space with you.
Yeah. So, you and I have talked about this a lot, but mindset is so crucial to it's everything in our life. But when it comes to healing and knowing that you are on the path to healing yourself, mindset is such a big part of that. So tell us what you think about that and your take on that.
Huge, huge. So if we go back to the book, it is a series. The first one is the Bulletproof Mindset for Entrepreneurs. The one after that will be the Bulletproof Mindset for those surviving cancer, and then the Bulletproof Mindset for those healing their bodies from the inside out. And
Wow.
that's how big I think it is. So in 2007, I was a natural health practitioner, and that's where my practice started. And then I went into health and weight loss. But I realized we could only get so far. That's when I started studying. I call it these 6 inches in between the ears. So important. If you, like Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. If you
Amen.
don't think you can heal the body by the power of the mind and doing the right things, you're right. Right. And if you think about it, even thoughts are toxic. In the book, and of course now I'm having a total brain fart, Wendy. In the book, there is a scientist that did the study with the water, right? And I've seen a friend who did this himself. So 2 bowls of water, one he spoke love and kindness to, and peace and tranquility, and the other one he was quite mean to. And this is published research. And the molecular structure changed of the one he spoke love and kind and peace to. So we've got to be careful when we, at any point in time, right? And that's why the bulletproof mindset is so important, because if you are talking, if I call your itty bitty shitty committee, the IBSC, right?
I
It's
love
the
it.
6 inches in between the ears, the IBSC, that is like, you can't do that. You'll never heal, blah, blah, blah. Well, that is what's going to come to fruition. You can speak it into existence. And the words are toxic. So we've got to be very, very careful with that. And when you're ready, I can also share the story of my very close friend with blood and brain cancer.
Uh, we're almost ready for that. And I want to go back because I just learned something about you that I never knew, Monica. 2007.
Yes.
Talk to me about that because this is something I never knew about you, but I knew that we had some sort of I've always known we've had a great connection, but tell us more about that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So here I was, oh, this is horrifying, horrifying. And it actually started before 2007, but I wasn't ready, right? Things present themselves as you're ready. When I was married, oh, this is horrifying to admit. I was a pack-a-day smoker. I was drinking 5 to 6 Pepsis a day, plus a couple of Starbucks. It was horrifying, absolutely horrifying. And I wanted to get
Everybody
healthy.
close your ears.
Right?
Oh,
Absolutely horrifying. And I wanted to get healthy, but if you're in a relationship and only one person wants to get healthy, it's really hard to do, right? That's an excuse. You could do it. I didn't, but I was in touch with a natural health practitioner and started studying. And then so when I did divorce, I found myself overweight and numbers. Everyone in my family is on blood pressure medication, diabetes medication, and cholesterol medication, except for one person, and that's me. I was headed down that road.
what's
And
interesting too is just to not to interrupt you, but in thinking about that, you can have a certain gene in your body that you, or you can
yes,
have it in a family history to make you to predetermined to not predetermined but predisposed to getting
yeah,
these. It doesn't mean that you're going to get them, Same thing, if you don't have them, doesn't mean that you won't get these illnesses. So anyway.
Yeah. It's so true. And I remember my doctor telling me, and this is at the beginning of my journey of getting healthy, all my numbers were borderline for diabetes and for blood pressure and everything. And I said, but I'm doing all the right things. And she goes, well, you're predisposed to it, right? If you look at your family history, and you haven't been doing the right things long enough. But I was determined that I was not going to end up on all those medications, right? I'm going to live a long, happy, and healthy life. And I did start studying mindset at that point because I could get my clients to a certain level, whether it was with the health and wellness or whether it was when the weight loss. Either way, the tears would come, right? When you hold that safe container with the people that you work with, the tears would come. And I had the skills to listen and hold space, right? But I didn't have the skills of the mindset. And I started studying that. And the more I studied the mindset, I started, and the book tells my whole story and how I had to fight to keep these 6 inches on track. Because the wheels were off the bus. And you've heard the whole story. And we won't go into that now. It's in the book.
Yeah.
Later on, this is interesting. My naturopathic doctor and good friend now, Dr. Inga Wetzel, who I do consultations with for my clients, she'll see anyone for 15 minutes, right? If they come through me for free, because we have that sisterhood, right? It was our first appointment. She didn't know my history or what I had been through. And friends, when I tell you the wheels were off the bus, it was a charred out, burnt out bus, right? I went from creating an empire to being on top of the world to having nothing and being unemployable. It was really horrendous. And I remember after my dad died, because it was a decade of transformation, I call it now, but it was a decade of what I used to call devastation. And this lady didn't know my story, and she did iridology on me, which is the study of the eye. And she can do the microscopic picture of the eye and tell you what's going on inside your body. And she looked at me and she goes, darling, have you had a nervous breakdown? And I looked at her. I said, why would you ask that? Because she didn't know anything. And she goes, because people who have had a nervous breakdown have 4 rings around their eye. You've got 5. I know, right?
That's great.
It resonated because one of the things, I lost my dad during that decade of devastation, and my aunt called me after he died and she said, are you okay, honey? And I said, I feel like if I let myself have a breakdown, I won't recover. And she's like, well, whatever do you mean, darling? I'm like, I don't freaking know what I mean. That's what I meant, Wendy. That is what I meant.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, my nervous system was just fried. And I had PTSD. I was diagnosed with PTSD from my life.
Wow.
Right. So that's where I started studying the power of the mind and healing the body.
Yeah. Well, and it goes into the other direction too, because it can get you in such fear mode. It can have you be in that nervous breakdown mode. And you're like, going off the rails. Like you said, the wheels are off the bus before you know it.
Yeah. And you're right. And if you can go down that rabbit hole, no matter what's going right or wrong in your life, that you can go down the rabbit hole of fear. And we had a conversation earlier, and when you've got a health issue going on, you have to know. You don't question whether you can heal your body. You have to know. Just like when I sat down in this chair, I did not test it and go, are you going to hold my weight? That's not how I said it earlier. We have to trust, right? Whether it's your higher power, I trust God. Right? Are you going to trust God and your higher power, whatever flavor that is for you, and that you have the ability to help heal your body by doing the right things and the right mindsets? Because if you go down that rabbit hole of fear, as they say, it's over.
Absolutely. I see so many people that when they're given a diagnosis of whatever it is, whether it's, cancer, or in my case, just, ulcerative colitis, my husband and his mild Alzheimer's, his cancer, people tend to take that on as if that's who they are. I'm the one with cancer. I'm the one with whatever, you fill in the blanks. And if you go, like you said, if you go down that rabbit hole, there's no chance that you'll be able to heal yourself. On the other hand, the body is miraculous, and God has created us to be miraculous and take care of ourselves if we'll only do, just listen and have faith.
Man, we have to be very careful on our words, right? Because what you think about, you bring about, right? And if you want to own the cancer, you'll say, my cancer. No, it is not yours. You're getting rid of it.
Mhm.
this cancer, that cancer, this disease, that it's not yours. I hear people say, my chronic pain, my cancer, right? No, don't own it. Be
And there's a
very
great
careful.
book out there too that's called Your Cells Are Listening. It's true, because if you are continually on that path of this is what I have and whatever, they're listening and they're going to keep building and growing. And same thing in the other direction. If you believe that
Yes.
you're healing, you're going to continue to heal.
There's the power belief that you remember from when we worked together previously. Your cells are eavesdropping on your thoughts.
All the time in
Yeah.
everything. And you see it in what you do now too with coaching real estate
Yeah.
agents, right?
Real estate agents, entrepreneurs, and we coach the whole person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't just stop at business,
Right.
because we're spiritual beings as well. We're mental beings. We have to talk about mindset and our health and our self-care, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if we just drive and drive and drive, the wheels are going to fall off the bus. You got to take care of your body. You got one temple.
Absolutely. And like you said, coaching the whole person, knowing what's going on in the personal life so much affects everything. I mean, and what's going on in the head? What's going on? What did you call that again? The itty bitty
Little bitty shitty committee, the IBSC.
itty bitty shitty committee. I love it. I'm stealing
Right?
that one.
Steal it, girlfriend. I stole it. I didn't come up with it. So it is the thoughts that we have. So if we are ill and we are saying, I'm never going to get better, you're never going to get better. But if you're saying, I am healing every day in every way, and I'm commanding all of my cells and systems to fall into place and organize it and operate as they were created to operate, take command over your body and over your thoughts, you can own it
And believe it. Belief,
and believe it.
knowing it. And knowing that whatever, like you said, God, whatever your higher power is that you believe in, knowing that they're not going to let you down.
Yeah.
Have
And
the
making
right
that
thoughts.
decision, right?
Yeah.
Making that decision that you're going to fight the IBSC,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the moment it says you're dying or you're going to die or what's going to happen if or what have you, I'll never beat this. You need to say no, and you need to write down what your higher power says,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that could be the litmus test, right? Is that coming
Absolutely.
from the enemy? Is that coming from God?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You've got to have a strategy to take note, because you can't change what you're not aware of. Take note of the thought, right? Keep an IBSC journal and then cross out what you write down and what you want to believe instead. And you've got to use affirmations. People think they're a bunch of woo-woo, but the reticular activating system, you've got to train it, and you can train it. Look at like Dr. Joe Dispenza. He talks about mindset and healing the body all the time, and he's a New York Times #1 bestseller.
Mm-hmm. And going back to that reticular activator, tell us what that is for those of you who don't know what that is.
Yep. So we call it the RAS, the
The RAS.
reticular activating system, right? It's in the back of the head. It's going to go out and look for evidence what you tell it to be true.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think about this, if you are just bought a new car, and did you start seeing that same car everywhere?
Yep.
Whereas it was there before, you just didn't choose to see it. There's
Mm-hmm.
also a great video online, you can Google it, called the gorilla test. And I'm going to ruin it for the listeners. But what happens is, tell me if you've seen it. So
No.
it says, count the number of passes by the people in the white shirts. And you got two teams, and they're passing a ball back and forth, right? And you're counting the passes. And I've done this in massive groups, in masterminds or classes I'm teaching. I'm like, count the passes, put the number in. And if you've seen this before, don't comment, right? And you get 14, 16, 15, 17, and they all put them in. I'm like, okay, did you see the gorilla come in? And they're like, what? There is a gorilla that comes in the middle of the scene, does this jig, and then walks out. And we replay it, and it's clear as day. You can't miss it. But your RAS, your reticular activating system, you told it to what to look for.
Yeah.
And it looked for the passes. It didn't look for the gorilla. Now they know there's a gorilla coming in. So the next time we play it, they replay it, they see it.
They see the
So
gorilla.
your reticular activating system can be reprogrammed through affirmations. So affirmations are scientific. They're not a bunch of woo-woo.
Right.
They are not a bunch of woo-woo. You have to state them in the affirmative. Like for my friend who's had blood and bone cancer, the affirmation is, I'm getting better every way and every day. I'm getting a little bit better and a little bit better every way and every day. And you got to continually say that. And that would be the reprogramming of the reticular activating system. There's other strategies I give out as well, but that's the main one. And you've got to do your effort. You've got to do it.
Absolutely. And you were telling me before we started that the doctors in the hospitals with this friend of yours are just amazed at what's happening with him and his recovery.
Yep. So over a year ago, he was diagnosed with blood and bone cancer, and they said it is treatable, not curable. And immediately I recorded some affirmations and meditations, right? We started releasing the negative residual emotions. So in the Bulletproof Mindset, I take people through, and it's not available yet. We're still finishing up the writing, and we're going to get a book deal shortly here. I'm super excited. But the gestalt of emotions that we have to get rid of our body: anger, sadness, fear, hurt, guilt, shame, frustration, and resentment, I've added on because we can't escape life without carrying those around in the backpack. And that goes along with limiting beliefs that we have that are, maybe you can't heal the body is a limiting belief, right? Not maybe, that is a limiting belief. And we go through a process to get rid of those out of the body, to release them, because those negative emotions, if we're carrying them around, are toxic.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
took him through all that work, did all the releasing work, helped him with his affirmations. I recorded guided meditations for him that he does 3 times a day, and during his treatments, right? If you're getting any kind of treatment and you have to, whether you take medicine or supplements, Eastern or Western medicine, he chose. I don't, people don't know. We can't tell people do Eastern or Western. It's an individual decision, right?
Absolutely.
And hopefully at minimum, you'll do both, right? And so when I told him, when you're taking chemo and the treatments and your supplements, I want you to visualize them going in and going through your body like white light, clearing and cleansing from the top of your head out to every limb, through your body, your torso. So his treatment is constant meditation. Even though he's interrupted, I don't care, go right back to it. That's what meditation means. You're meditating and suddenly you got your grocery list in your head. Clear the thought, start all over. Yeah, so mind-blowing results. He is in remission. He'll still have to get tested. This is a year later, and his doctor was going around. I could read you the text he sent me, just so excited, bragging about how well he's done. And he's like, what are you doing in addition to this? And he told them, right, I'm working with my friend. We're doing supplementation. We're doing a lot of meditation. We're doing a lot of mind work for the Bulletproof Mindset, the 6 inches between the ears. And he goes, this is miraculous. Will you come talk to the other group of patients going through what you've been through?
Wow.
It's powerful and it's possible.
Wow. And he knows that it is because of this.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and the doctor thinks it is.
Yeah.
The medical doctor can see how powerful and the difference he's making, because other people make some progress, right? But not like he is.
That's huge. That's
why the doctor's like, what else are you doing? And it wants him to come talk to the group and meditate with them.
Because it's so common that you'll hear, and I've heard it from my own doctors, that you'll go in and you get a clean bill of health and they'll say, well, they don't ask what you're doing. They just say, keep doing what you're doing. It's almost like they don't want to know what you're doing because they don't want to. Yeah. I don't know what it is. It's just.
No, it's very true. Some people will advise you to not take any supplements during any other treatment. I can see you don't want to do a detox or a cleanse while you're doing chemo. You don't, because the cleanse and detox will take the toxins. Chemo kills everything in your body. It's a toxin that kills it all, right?
Kills everything.
But there is no harm in putting good nutrition, supplements that are food-based, into your body.
Absolutely.
You can't get all the nutrients you need through our foods.
No, especially now. And unfortunately, supplementation is necessary, especially if you are depleted in an area. If you're low in potassium, eating a banana isn't going to help you. So yeah, you need supplementation.
It's imperative in my mind.
Yeah.
If you're not, because our soils literally are depleted. Yep. Right. And we're low on everything when it comes to nutrition wise, unless you're taking supplementation.
Yeah. And it's interesting because you hear that a lot. I hear it from my own family that will say, but grandma and grandpa, they used to eat like crap, and they used to eat, meat and potatoes all the time. That's all they ate is meat and potatoes. And, the difference is the food back then, because my grandparents are long gone, but, back in the early 1900s, the food was different. Like you said, the soil was different. There's no pesticides and there was none of this glyphosate and all that junk that's in there that is just killing the gut microbiome, and just we could go on
Yeah.
and on about that.
Well, that reminds me of our animals too. I was working with someone for my rescue, and they asked me, is he on any medications? And at the time I said no. But he was on, I can't remember if it was monthly or not, a flea and tick medication from the vet. Did the research. It's pesticide. I
Yep.
was feeding my furry friend pesticide.
Pesticide. Yep. Yep.
Oh my goodness. Don't trust. Don't
No.
trust. Do your own research.
No.
Right.
And
On everything we put in our bodies.
yeah, and our little furry friends. It's amazing that you say that, because my little Roxy, who we lost last November, but she had her own neurologist. And when she went to the neurologist, he asked what we were giving her for flea and tick. And I told him, and he said, get her off of it. And he showed me what was in it. Same thing. And he said, for the ticks, if you're going to use anything, use that stuff on the back of their neck, which I didn't even do that. I just had them
Horrifying.
tested. It is
Yeah.
horrifying. We're poisoning them.
Yeah. And it's advice coming from people that we trust sometimes, right? So, and I'm not saying don't trust. When I was a special agent for the government, our saying was trust but verify.
That's perfect.
Right? Trust, take your information, go do your research. Hear me, I was an investigator and I did not research what I was told. I'm like, oh, I need to give this to them.
But you're right,
Wrong
we
answer.
trust. We're just too trusting, and you hear it over and over and over. And even if it's your own health and you've been given a diagnosis and you go to a second opinion, and they, traditional medicine, they're going to treat the disease. They're going to treat
Yeah.
the symptoms that are causing it, not what the root cause is. And if you can get to the root cause, it's interesting that for the last couple of decades, what I'm coming to find out is that there's very few diseases that aren't caused by the same things. Number one is inflammation.
Yeah. And where does
none.
that start?
The inflammation starts in the foods that
Yeah.
we're putting in, and the crap
In the
that we're
gut.
eating. Yeah,
Yeah, in the
absolutely.
gut.
And killing the good gut microbiome and putting
Yes.
bad bugs in there.
Years ago, I was at a natural health conference and I heard Dr. Perlmutter, the neurologist.
Yep.
He got on stage. He goes, so I'm a neurologist. He goes, so I'm sure you expect me to come up here and talk to you about the brain. He goes, I'm not, because your second brain is where it all starts, and that's the gut.
Yep.
Right? The food you're putting in, the probiotics, right? The good supplements. And he talked about making sure you take probiotics at nighttime on an empty stomach as well. Before we end, I would love to share for anyone with health issues. Can I share just some ideas of things that they could be doing?
Absolutely. Please do.
I think it's important for anybody and everybody to set their feet on a firm foundation first thing in the morning. Whatever your flavor of spirituality is, you're a spiritual being and you can't deny that. Right. And so whatever that is, maybe, and I've got a system that I'm putting in the bulletproof mindset, and it's really three things. But if you're dealing with a health issue, I recommend you do read something positive, right? Putting the good shiitake in between the ears, right?
Yep.
Something uplifting, something that is foundational to your spiritual beliefs. And then your affirmations, right? I'm getting better every day in every way. Say that 3 times in the morning, 6 times in the afternoon, 9 times at night. And then listen to something positive while you're getting ready for the day. A lot of people say, oh, I can't do a morning program. There's also some breath work I teach people, but you're putting good stuff into your head, and that's important. I had to stop watching TV because I was watching the news. If you are sick, do not watch the news. It's toxic. It's fearful. The funny thing is, when I bought this house, it's got 6 of these big TVs in it. So in your night program, same thing. Write down what you're grateful for that happens. Raise your vibration morning and night, because gratitude raises your vibration. Write down what went well that you're grateful for during the day. It could be, so I'll be grateful for this conversation today. What a fun time and what a good flow, right? And then again, turn the TVs off. Try not to watch the shoot 'em up, bang 'em stuff, because it is toxic, right? It fires your nervous system up. And if you do watch TV at night, turn it off an hour before bed to start shutting down your body, because rest is your number one thing you need for the body to heal. It heals while you're sleeping. And then a nighttime meditation, they have on YouTube these healing frequencies and videos that you can just listen to as you go to sleep that are meant for sleep. Put in deep sleep healing music, and that integrates into your brain. It could be deep sleep healing affirmations. Let that soak in every night. If you watch TV
Absolutely.
an hour before bed, whatever you watched, if you're watching shoot 'em up, bang 'em up, or toxic people yelling at each other, that's going to marinate for the next 8 hours.
Hmm.
And if it's toxic verbally and emotionally, then it goes into our heads, right? And that affects your body.
Yeah, it's interesting. If you've ever noticed, it's happened to me before that you watch something and then you wake up in the morning and you're like, wow, I just dreamt something weird. Where did that come from? And then you think back to, oh, that's because I watched that the day before.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
subconscious is picking up everything.
Sure does.
Well, Monica, I got to tell you, this has been fun, as it always is, to chat.
Same.
And if somebody wants to reach out and get help with their entrepreneurial journey or their health journey, how can they find you?
I would love that. Thank you. I'm going to put out the main number that
Yep.
myself and my admin, we do get back to you within 24 hours. They can call or text 720-338-2586. And it's Monica K Coaching. And the website is monicakcoaching.com. And the email is Monica, the letter K, the word coaching.com. And I'd be more than happy to give a free strategy session. My focus is right now on entrepreneurs who want to grow their business, and they know that personal growth and development is key to that because their business will grow to the extent that they do. So
Absolutely.
super excited to be here. Thank you for your time,
Absolutely.
Wendy.
Yeah, thank you so much. Like I said, it's been fun as always. And look forward to when that first book of the series comes out.
It's coming. I'm excited. Thanks for your time, Wendy. Make
Keep
it a
us
great day.
posted. Take care.